Dangote secures record 2.5 billion investment to expand Lagos Refinery. What if I told you that one decision made in Lagos could reshape Africa's energy future? It's not a government policy, it's not a new oil discovery, but it's a single investment worth $2.5 billion, and that's a dollar with a D. Well, that's exactly what has just happened. Aliko Dangote, the man behind Africa's largest industrial empire, has secured a record-breaking $2.5 billion investment to supercharge the Dangote Refinery. Now, this project is something that already changed how Nigeria buys, sells, and refines fuel. But here's the bigger picture anyway. Why are investors willing to pour billions of dollars into a refinery that has already become the largest in Africa? So what do they know that everyone else doesn't? And could this be the beginning of Nigeria's biggest industrial transformation since crude oil was first discovered? Today we're uncovering the story behind the money, the strategy, and the massive gamble that could redefine not just Nigeria here, but Africa's entire energy landscape. Building a refinery is one of the most expensive industrial projects on earth. One of the most expensive you can think of. We are talking about billions of dollars, years of construction. At times it takes over a decade. Decades of construction, thousands of workers, and risks that could bankrupt even the largest corporations. Now, for decades, experts believed that building a mega refinery in Nigeria was simply too difficult. We had infrastructural challenges, funding constraints, changing government policies. We had security concerns. Now, many projects were announced, many failed. Yet Dangote kept building, year after year, dollar after dollar. Despite delays, rising costs, widespread skepticism, his construction continued. Now today, that persistence has attracted one of the largest private capital investments ever announced by an African company. The latest 2.5 billion isn't just more money, it's something far more valuable than money. It's confidence. I want you to think about that for a moment. Now, when sophisticated investors commit billions of dollars to a project, they're not just investing in what it is today. They're investing in what they believe it can become. And that tells us something very important. They believe the biggest chapter of the Dangote refinery story hasn't even been written yet. And that's something worth considering. At full operation today, the Dangote Refinery can process around 650,000 barrels of crude oil every single day. That already makes it the largest refinery on the African continent. But apparently, that isn't enough. The new investment will help finance an expansion that aims to push production to approximately 1.4 million barrels per day by 2028. To understand just how enormous this is, because we really need to put this into perspective. Imagine filling thousands of fuel trucks every single day. Imagine supplying entire countries. Imagine exporting refined petroleum products across the African continent and even beyond. Exporting to Europe, exporting to Asia. That's the scale. Now, this is very important. That's the scale investors are betting on, not where the refinery is today. For decades, Africa has exported crude oil and spent billions importing the refined fuel back at a much higher price. I believe that has been penny-wise, pound foolish. It's a cycle that has drained wealth from the continent for generations. The Dangote Refinery aims to reverse that cycle. Now, instead of exporting raw materials, Nigeria could increasingly export finished, higher value products. And that's where the real money is. This story isn't really about one refinery. It's about what happens around it. Now, this is a part almost everyone misses. Every major industrial project creates an ecosystem. We have transport companies coming in, engineering firms coming in, we have banks coming in, we have insurance providers, we have ports, manufacturers, construction businesses, technology companies, thousands and thousands of suppliers and vendors. You name it, the list is endless. One refinery can support an entire network of industry. If the expansion goes according to plan, Nigeria could reduce fuel imports even further while increasing exports to neighboring countries and international markets. What do more exports mean? More exports mean more foreign exchange. More industrial activity means more jobs. More investment often encourages what? Even more investment. It has this compounding effect, right? Now, economists call this a multiplier effect. $1 invested doesn't create $1 of value. It creates opportunities that spread throughout an ecosystem. Now, of course, success isn't guaranteed. The refinery will still depend on reliable crude supply, efficient logistics, favorable market conditions, and consistent operations. But if those pieces fall into place, the economic impact could extend far beyond the energy sector. Here is something many people miss. The refinery isn't simply producing petrol and diesel, right? It's becoming part of a much larger industrial strategy. Dangote also plans to expand production of polypropylene, a material found almost everywhere, right? Your food packaging, your plastic furniture, your medical equipment, your car interiors, household containers, electronics, even the clothes you wear may contain products made from polypropylene. Now, instead of importing these industrial materials, Nigeria could manufacture more of them locally. What does that mean? That means greater value creation. That means more manufacturing, more exports. Another step toward reducing dependence on imported industrial products. In other words, the refinery isn't just refining oil, it's laying a foundation for a broader manufacturing economy. As if a 2.5 billion investment wasn't enough, another major milestone could be just around the corner. Now, Dangote is preparing to list the refinery on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in what many expect could become Africa's largest initial public offering. If the listing moves ahead as anticipated, everyday investors, pension funds, and institutions could have the opportunity to own a stake in one of Africa's most valuable industrial assets. For the Nigerian capital market, it could represent a landmark event. For Dangote, it could unlock even more funding for future expansion. And for investors, it could be a rare chance to participate in one of the continent's biggest industrial success stories. And that's amazing, an amazing one. History isn't only written by governments. Sometimes it's written by entrepreneurs like me and you, willing to attempt what others believe is impossible. Whether you admire Aliko Dangote or not, there's no denying the fact that the scale of what he has achieved. This is a refinery that was once dismissed as being overambitious and is now attracting billions of dollars from major investors. An industrial project that many doubted would ever even become completed is becoming one of the most closely watched energy assets in the world. And with plans to double its capacity, expand into petrochemicals, and eventually go public, this may only be the beginning. The real question isn't whether Dangote Refinery is important. No, that's not the question. I think we're all done with that, right? The real question is this: will this project become the turning point that transforms Nigeria from a major exporter of crude oil into one of the world's leading exporters of refined petroleum products? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the world is watching, and so should we. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here we don't just report financial news. We explain the stories that shape economies, markets, and the future of wealth. Thank you.